Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am joined in the studio today by the mighty Jerry, Leo and Az from Mythic Games.
Oh, we didn't get any mighty.
Magnificent, glorious, wonderful, the gods of gaming.
Oh, wow. Okay, no, it's too much. I feel the pressure now.
And today we're going to be talking about Time of Legends, Destinies. So this is a new game that you guys are working in partnership with another company on. So Az, can you give us a very brief overview of what we're saying here?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Well, there's so much stuff. So yeah, Time of Legends Destinies is a licensed IP. So Lucky Duck Games, who are best known for a lot of the games like Kingdom Rush, but I think one of the ones that stood out for me personally was Chronicles of Crime, came to us and said, we would love to take our app, our system, the Destiny system that they're evolving, and bring it to the world of Joan of Arc. Mm-hmm. So those guys, Lucky Duck Games, will be publishing it, but we've been working with them in tandem, cooperating, and they're actually going to be bringing this to Kickstarter on September 24th.
Ooh.
Yes, it's coming really soon. And we just wanted to, while we were here, doing our thing, we wanted to kind of show everyone Time of Legends from a whole new aspect.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, for anyone who hasn't seen their Destinies format before, what exactly are we looking at on the table? Because you've got a bit of a layout set out here for us on the table.
Yeah, this is great. I'll get that a little bit. There we go. So yeah, what you're seeing in front of you here, I'll let Leo kind of chat a bit about the story in a second, but I'll kind of give you the component kind of breakdown. We have a character board. We have some of your character's dice and effort dice, and these are still very much prototype at the moment. And then in front of you, you have just the start of a world and a town and a narrative and an adventure that you and the players you're playing with are going to explore. So you'll see that what we have actually is just a town square with one revealed tile, and the Joan of Arc minis, if anyone's familiar, of course, with Time of Legends Joan of Arc, we're using and working with Lucky Duck to bring the same minis to life. In fact, Jerry, you've got a little tray of the prototype ones that they have with all your different characters you expect. So we have knights, we have bishops, we have civilians. And the idea is that instead of Time of Legends Joan of Arc, where you're playing a very key moment in a battle or a siege or a narrative where you're playing as the heroes, in Time of Legends Destinies, you're playing as the civilians, the deserter, the herbalist, these kind of everyday people who are wrapped up and caught in the same kind of stories, the werewolves, these terrible things that are happening in medieval times, and you're taking on the role of someone trying to fulfill their destiny and starting with only a little bit of knowledge, only one tile revealed here, 4 Fog of War, and a couple of points of interest. You'll see these little purple point of interest tiles that are telling you there's something to find out here. There's something to do. And you'll be taking your character through a story, trying to complete one of your 2 objectives, one of your 2 destinies that you'll try and fulfill. And only one of you at the table will actually achieve it. So it's actually a competitive, but narrative and app-driven and adventure game. So although we're not kind of fighting each other directly, I may be doing actions that you may really not want to happen. I may be running people out of town. You may be destroying land, or you may be searching into someone that I'm like, no, leave that person alone. Leave the blacksmith's house alone, because I actually need him for my quest.
Jerry, you see that priest you're kind of friendly with? I think he might be a heretic.
Exactly. That's it. You nailed it.
Shocking altogether.
So, I mean, I think I'll let Leo kind of chat a bit about what we actually have here scenario-wise, because we're going to go into it a little bit and show some of the gameplay. But I think that the best thing I can do is let the app of Lucky Duck to kind of tell us an intro.
Ooh, okay. So let's go for it.
I'm going to get it up here. So, for anyone not familiar, Lucky Duck Games always kind of, with their Destiny system, have these cards and app that supports everything. And we're looking at the
It was a Christmas Eve you won't forget for the rest of your life. It was close to midnight when the townsfolk of Centilli heard a blood-curdling, haunting howl that rose above the snow-covered roofs of the parish. And then the wolves came. Dark, red-stained, growling muzzled on pristine white snow. There were screams, shouts and baby cries all around. The wolves entered the church, spreading terror that struck the simple townsfolk with paralyzing fear. After, when the wolves were done with the church, they left. Someone saw them running towards the woods to the south, leaving dark tracks in their wake. And in the morning, the priest confirmed what all have suspected. There is a wolf in here, hiding amongst the townsfolk, a beast in human form. A werewolf. Now Centilli only has until the next full moon before the werewolf howls again.
You pointing fingers already?
I'm looking at this man. Look at that beard. That's a werewolfy beard right there. Look at that silver mane.
See how hairless my palms are.
Oh, he knows. He knows the telling traits. So what we would have, in this case, Leo, maybe you can take us through. We have 3 characters. So at the start of the app, you'd have the mayor and the herbalist and the deserter.
As you can hear, guys, it really feels like a role-playing game. And when I played it, what I really enjoyed is it's an effortless role-playing game. That means you don't have anything to prepare. You will be completely caught into the story. At the beginning of the game, you have this card, and you need to read your own story and secret story, and you will have your 2 destinies that you can accomplish. So you know stuff, things and aspects that the other characters do not know. And the funny thing with this game is that everybody does what they do in front of everyone else, which means you will get sometimes you will get some clues from what the other are doing, and without them even realizing it. So you participate even when it's not your turn. You have to really follow the story, because it could give you clues. So what this story is about is based on one of the Time of Legends Joan of Arc scenarios. It's the werewolf scenario. But you will completely rediscover this story from a completely different angle. And yes, I played it very recently at our Mythic Day. We demoed the game. I can tell you that everybody who was playing it was completely hooked, and they didn't want to stop. And it was the same for me. A full scenario like this will probably last 2.5 hours. You can play 1, 2, or 3 players. So that's interesting. And as said, it's competitive. It doesn't mean you will fight each other, but the first one who wins, who fulfills achieves their destiny,
their destiny is the winner. So in terms of, we can look at the app for a second. We can see once we've chosen this scenario, we have the characters that we wish to include in the game, and you can obviously customize this. And beneath each one, it's going to tell you actually how you start the game. So if we look at the herbalist, it actually gives us intelligence, dexterity, and power stats. And on the board you're going to have in front of you, you're going to then put these pips on each one of those relative stats. So we have the intelligence track, then the dexterity, then the power. And in this case, the herbalist has 4, 6, and 11 for her potential successes. You've got a great picture there.
Yeah, there's a great shot of the board layout here.
So this gives you an idea that the map's going to grow as you kind of flip tiles over, as you explore, as you find new points of interest, new characters to talk to. Very much it will be contextual. So if you throw a lantern into a cave and set it on fire, that's not going to be a point of interest that maybe people can access anymore. It's going to evolve every time you play through the game and change depending on what you do. And we'll come back to how you use the items in a minute, because it's one of the most exciting parts of it. But so I'll jump into the app for a second, skip forward just a little bit. And I'm going to go through briefly. It's going to take us through little bits of background information about each of the tiles. It's going to tell us how we set up the starting board, but we are, of course, have got it in front of us. It's going to tell us a little bit about that. The blacksmith is a person that we could potentially interact with, and then we've also got an inn, and we've got an abandoned house, and then each player would place our characters' minis onto tile 7, which we do, and then it's going to go ahead and say, right, it's the first day. It's time to make a decision about what you would like to do. And at this moment, all every player really has is your secret destinies on the back of your card. So this is where you'll be looking at your character, and on the back of it you'll have a story that's secret to you and 2 potential paths that you can follow. Then you'll have the same introduction as everybody else has and the same points on the board. So everybody's kind of going to set about what they're aiming to do with their destiny separately. And it's only by, as Leo talked about, as the app starts to give you story and context, that everyone's going to then start to work out what the goals might be and as the town evolves.
See, this is how I think apps should be implemented into games, to act as a digital DM, essentially, to actually be that narrator, be that one who's controlling the story, giving you out the information that you're going to need.
Just to inform your decisions to be there. So for example, Leo, we'll say you're playing as the mayor. So right now you're in the middle tile, as we can see with the physical board we have in front of us. And the digital board tells us that in that area, you've got the blacksmith, you've got the inn, and you've got the abandoned house. Or of course, you could go and explore and walk and reveal one of the new tiles. What would you like to do?
I would like to go to the inn.
to the inn. Okay, now for talk's sake, what we would do when we're playing around the tables, we would hand the app around to each other and allow each player to take their turn and narrate and say what's going to happen. In this case, because I've got it in front of me, of course, I'll read it to Leo. So Leo, I'm going to say, are you sure you want to interact with the inn? You committing your turn to visit the inn?
No.
No?
I would rather go to the blacksmith.
Oh, he's testing me now. Are you sure you want to interact with the blacksmith?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So the blacksmith workshop is busy throughout the whole winter. The loud clanging of the hammer and the roar of the furnace make talking difficult, and the blacksmith has to yell to make sure that you hear him at all. With all this werewolf gossip around, people come to me asking to buy silver trinkets for protection. Who knows, maybe they'd even work. They offer good money, but I don't have enough silver. Look around and bring me silver in any form so I can melt it and cast the talismans. And we're actually given a whole range of contextual options here. So you could buy equipment. You could actually attempt a dexterity test to try and steal from the blacksmith.
Oh, totally.
You could ask the blacksmith about something. You could ask to forge a silver dagger using silver from something, and you could donate silver. And those last three have a particular icon beside them on the app, which shows you that you should be looking at the items you have in your inventory. If you bring up a couple of the cards there, Jerry, just literally anything you want.
So
you'll see that on all the cards, there's a gold value, there's a name, a little bit of context at the bottom for potential abilities and powers and skills. Some of them you can keep permanently and use ongoing. Some of them are one-time uses and then they're going to go away. But all the cards also share something. They all have a QR code. You got it, man. You're well practiced at this. A QR code in the top left-hand corner. And that's because anytime you're presented with a discussion or a situation or a challenge, you may be given the opportunity to scan a card into the app. If you choose to do that, you will be given completely free rein to decide what may happen. So for example, I mean, we could cheat the system a little bit. Or Leo, would you rather try and steal something, or would you rather suggest?
Oh well, let's try and steal something.
It's day one, so obviously at this point we're not well equipped. Our character boards, of course, give you spaces at the bottom for you to equip a range of items and for you to store your dice and your tokens and everything that you're going to gain throughout the game. And you'll be able to have essentially an inventory in front of you. And as you accumulate items, then you'll have those opportunities to use them. But if we're going to try stealing, that is going to require a test. So Leo, this is going to be an agility test.
So I've got a 4 and 8 on agility.
Okay.
Because this is written on, and so if I have my card,
the mayor?
Yes, I would like the board. I would like the board.
Oh, Leo's going to get the board.
All right.
And I would the mayor's card. Yeah. So I will put. Yes. Thank you.
There you go.
So essentially, whenever you do a test, I'll let Leo set up his board there. What you're basically looking at is on the board, you have these pips that are your starting stats. But as you accumulate more items, as you gain more experience, as you spend that experience, or as you equip different things, you will add extra potential successes to each of those tracks. So if you were to get a sword, for example, you might find yourself more capable of completing power-related tests. If you found a book or an enchantment or a tome or something that benefited your intelligence, you might have extra successes on there. And what the successes relate to are the dice that you have. So every player will have 2 basic dice, and every player will also start with effort dice. Now, basic dice you'll always have for your roll. Effort dice, however, you choose to spend as you see fit, and you will only gain, generally speaking, unless you eat some rations or do something like take extra rest, but generally speaking, you'll get 1 effort dice back per day. Yes. So it's to represent that end of round, any kind of resting time. So spending the effort dice and when you do it is really quite important. So
I get my 3 regular dice.
2 regular dice?
Oh, 2 regular dice.
Easy.
And I got 1
effort dice.
Effort dice because it's the first day. So let's say I pretend this is important, that I really want to steal something.
I mean, if you get caught stealing on day 1, things could go bad for you.
I know. I know. Well, I would never play like that. I didn't play like that last time, but let's see what it does.
Oh, I'd be thieving everything.
Yeah, right. So what Leo's going to do is roll the 2 normal dice plus any effort he wishes to commit.
I want to use 1 effort dice.
Cool. Let's see your total.
And it's a dexterity, so I have 1 in 4 and 1 in 8. And
so
let's see what the dice give me. So I've got 4, 3 plus 3 with my effort dice. That's a very good roll.
10.
That's
Love
10.
it.
Yep.
So 10 means that I got 2 successes.
So I'll show you, just if you look at this board here for a second, there's a row of numbers from 1 to 12 along the top. So basically Leo would be going to 10 and looking down this and then looking for every pip, every success that he hit up to that number. So I'm going to tell the app now, Again, Leo would do this with it in front of him, and he'd be telling people what he's doing. So I'm going to steal something from the blacksmith, or Leo is. I'm not saying Leo's stealing something. And he has achieved 2 successes. I'm going to confirm. Now, Leo doesn't know what's going to happen here.
No. And I don't know how many successes are required. It's just a guess that you do when you feel that this test is important or not. So you have to manage your effort dice throughout the game.
Okay, 2 successes, Leo. You didn't get anything on a good occasion. Afraid you might get caught, you walk away.
What?
All right. So it wasn't enough. So maybe a third or fourth success might have been enough to gain something.
So
but
maybe the mayor is not the best at that.
No,
But you didn't get caught.
Yes, and that is really key because actually your turn is not over. You're still engaged with the blacksmith because nothing has caused your
He
conversation
hasn't
to
seen
end.
me.
Exactly.
So the 2 successes prevented me from at least.
So you could buy equipment, you could ask the blacksmith about something, you could ask to forge the dagger from silver, or
I
you
think
could
you
donate
start
silver.
with two coins.
Oh yeah, 2 gold. Here you go.
So I'll try and buy some equipment. Let's see what he says.
So let's see what he has available. So the blacksmith you'll now set up a trade stack with him. So we would go into the item deck and you would pick out cards number 2, 12, 16, 29, which is an axe, a lockpick, a rope, and a torch. So Leo has essentially, by engaging in conversation, discovered what the blacksmith has available to sell. And that's now going to create a little shop. A little trade stack that is now available for everyone. And we can see on these cards that they have a range of costs. So you see the the lockpick, the axe, and the torch have 2, 2, 2, and 1. And that's now something we can set by the board to make a shop.
Yeah.
Thanks, Leo.
That's interesting. And is that randomly generated then by the app? Or
It will be contextual. So, for example, if you've gone ahead and really annoyed the blacksmith, he may raise his prices. He may do something like that. It's going to change slightly. But at this early stage of the game, if you were to go to him like this, he's probably going to give you the same stuff all the time. It does say though his helpers take over, and the blacksmith walks towards you. He says, "What would you like?" And so, when trading here, you can basically use coins on these items in the trade stack.
Okay.
So again, you can buy, and again, or for example, everyone starts with, of course, their character card and their
I
destiny
could ask
card.
something about me.
It's always a little bit interesting whenever you decide to ask someone about your destiny, because it's going to start to tell the players a little bit about what you're actually up to or what you may be up to. Because remember, everybody has 2 destinies to potentially be following. So when you ask someone, I think we can try it. Let's see. I am running this on an app right now, so we'll see if this works. I think it will. We're going to get to see. I hope you guys can see this, Leo. If you pass your card over to me, I'm going to basically. So if you're on your tablet, whatever you're on, you just hold the QR code up to the camera.
Oh, is it using our?
It's using your front-facing webcam, so I got to scan myself. I got to scan myself there. I'll give that back to you, Leo. And the blacksmith has this to say about your destiny as the mayor. Yes, I understand. But see, I have my hands full at the moment. He's not willing to help you easily. Bring me some silver in any form, and afterwards, I may help you. He thinks for a while. He's going to give you some more information. He says, head northeast. The stableman at the estate might have some spare time, as Sir Jihan took all the horses for the hunt. Because Sir Jihan's coming to town.
Yes. So Jihan was in the original scenario, of course. He's the landlord. Well, the Lord, and he's supposed to help us get rid of the werewolf.
So again, you could essentially choose now if you wanted to end your turn, Leo. If you had some silver, you could donate it.
I don't.
No. Or you could buy something.
I could buy either a lockpick, an axe, a torch, or a rope. And it's from 1 to 2.
Why don't you take the rope? We'll show a little bit about how that works. I'm going to say buy equipment. So basically, you're just going to go ahead and pay a gold. Take the rope.
Do you have to scan that you've bought it?
No, you don't have to, because your inventory is something that you're basically just means you have that available to use during this conversation.
And you can see, because if you put it underneath your board, that you can only have 3 of them at any time.
So something important here is there's a couple of things on this card that Leo's just taken up that's going to have an immediate impact. The first one is the very bottom. It means he's going to add an extra success. Because he's now got a rope, he's going to succeed in agility tests a little bit better. So he's going to add an extra potential success on 10.
I should have taken the rope before I did my test.
A rope could have helped him lasso an item.
Because now I have another 10. Yes, that would have given me 3 successes.
The second thing that is worth noting is that it has a discard effect. So this would give Leo the potential to, what does it give you? Is it 1 success, I think, or?
Plus 2.
Is it
plus 2 to your roll potentially.
Plus 2. Yeah. in an agility test.
That's it. So you're going to try and do an agility, and if you think, oh, I haven't got quite enough, or if I just managed to get 2 more to get another success, you can choose to discard the rope. But the downside is you're getting an instantaneous benefit. Maybe you're getting some more successes. Maybe you're saving your life, for goodness sake. But the rope is then gone, which means that success you added previously to the 10 disappears. So you have these contextual stats that over the course of the game are going to be changed by equipment, and they will also be changed by experience. When you do heroic things, when you do novel or interesting things, you're going to gain these bad boys, which are experience tokens. And if we have a look at the Herbalist board, and go back to this very important track. We mentioned this 1 to 12 track as well. You'll also see that the board is broken in actually to 4 different sections. At the top of each section, there's a little star that represents experience. When you do something epic, when you do something really interesting, you save your bacon or whatever nice thing you do, you may gain experience, which you can then spend to add permanent pips to your board. Not equipment dependent ones, but ones that will actually, so if you spend 4 experience, you could get a success added all the way down in this section, which means on 1s, 2s, or 3s, you're getting successes. Whereas 1 experience would get you up in this section for 10s, 11s, and 12s.
Yeah, that's cool.
So this, as Leo kind of talked about, it's kind of giving you that feeling of being an evolving character every time you delve into the story. And you're going to have to make tough decisions. I want to tell you very briefly about one of the funnest things that happened to me when I played this last.
Go ahead.
I was inspecting a caravan that had fallen over. It was from a merchant. And actually the innkeeper had told me, I don't want to give too many spoilers, but the innkeeper told me that if I was able to find the merchant, I might find a bit of coin. So I decided to spend a bit of extra time looking through and rummaging through the caravan to try and find this bit of extra gold, because I knew there was potentially more there. While my attention was focused on the caravan, I got ambushed by a pack of wolves and they chased me, and I got cornered in their den. And essentially it gave me the option to have a physical test, which was very bad for my character at that time, or an agility test, which was moderate, or I could use an item. And I had a bunch of different items at the time. I had some food rations. I was like, maybe I could throw them and distract them with the food. I had some poison, and I thought maybe I could do something with the poison to try and...
maybe.
I don't, a vial of poison against wolves. I didn't feel...
Why do I think you just went...
Yeah, right. I think I would try and run rather than that. But I also had a lantern. Now, the app gave me the opportunity to scan an item and contextually tell me what happened. And I didn't know precisely what was going to happen, but I knew I'm going to tell my character to use this lantern against the wolves and hope it goes well. I threw the lantern at the pack of wolves. There was 5 of them, and I managed to set alight 3 of them and cause them to run away. And not only did I manage to escape from that, but I also, a few turns later, encountered the wolves again, and there was now less for me to deal with. Because of the app-based system, all the actions you do are going to have ongoing effects.
So it remembers.
Some are hidden.
And this is it. Some of them are clear. You can see what the context means. Some won't talk to you anymore. The wolves will be gone, whatever it may be. But some, as Leo says, are hidden because there's actually a 4th stat that is not on a board. It's not on physical at all. And it's your virtue. It's your holy or unholy tendencies. It's your willingness to do good and evil. It's your light and dark kind of track. And sometimes, depending on which way you've gone and how you've been acting as a character, you'll be given different options, presented with different decisions, and maybe reveal different points of interest in tracks, depending on the type of player you're playing in that game.
Yeah, so
that's interesting.
If you start pushing if you are, for example, the mayor, who already taxes these poor people, and then you walk in and try and shoplift something from somebody you just taxed, which is terrible. Yeah. So the app will start to remember that that's the type of terrible person you are.
Maybe I won't be elected again.
Yeah.
Well, you see, I don't know. I mean, like, if it's me, I know I'm going to hell.
Yeah. So, for example, if I was to just end Leo's turn for a second,
this is the interesting thing about this: is how far can you push a turn? So. You've gone to the blacksmith and talked. Could you just keep talking and talking and doing things? No.
At some point, the app will tell you you need to end your turn.
Yeah, you're coming to the end of the day, essentially. There are only so many actions.
And for instance, you can only explore up to 2 tiles. So that's it. You won't be able to do more. So you try and do as much as you can during your turn, because you want to. You want to run against time. You want to be the first to fulfill your debt.
I tell you what, Jerry. Let's give you a turn, right? So let's start the herbalist day 1. So you would refresh an effort die. You're on your max of 3 at the minute, but this would give you 1 of your effort die back. What would you like to do?
No. You start with none.
Oh, you start with none. Oh, then you've refreshed 1. There we go.
Okay.
I'll throw it.
So what would you like to do? Would you like
I'm
to
a herbalist? I'm going to go out to the nearest woods. So can I go to 11?
Should you go south?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to try and do my best with the app here.
That's where you find
So I will click it and it says, are you sure you want to explore this location? Yeah. Okay, I will say yes. So the app's going to tell us, mixed forest so dense that even the snow has trouble invading the frozen ground beneath the dark trees. Flip the tile 11 face up as indicated. It then says, in the ditch near the road, you can see a destroyed, colourful wagon. And you see, you chose a direction which is similar to what I chose to do in my turn. And a wolf den could be the same pack that attacked the church, but it's not the wolf's lair. The werewolf's lair, sorry. So it's a wolf den, but it's definitely not something occult looking. However, we also need tile 10. You've actually discovered a road that's heading off to the west.
So that would go down there.
And we've got tile 12, which is heading off to the right. Now, something that's worth noting is when the tiles are a fog of war like this, there is art on them. It's going to give you a little bit of a clue to what's there. It's going to give you the main terrain features, but it will not show you everything on the tile. Importantly, not just is the art different on the other side, but it's the app and what you've done before that's going to help generate those points of interest. So whether a person is there and what points of interest you place.
And you should really look clearly at what is drawn, because there might be clues on the art itself. And I apologize, you have 3 effort dice. This is how you start.
So, you lucky man.
So for example, if obviously I'm second guessing here, but potentially if something had happened in a previous tile and a villager had run off into the night because you'd upset them or whatever, potentially then you could find them down the line somewhere else.
Absolutely.
The app would go, well, we're just going to push them into there then instead.
Your decisions.
If you didn't, then you won't find them there later on.
That's it. No, you've absolutely nailed it. And the thing that's kind of relevant is that we have these little points of interest here, which are represented by the purple tokens. Again, this is very much a prototype for the guys at the minute at Lucky Duck. But what they also have then are the 3D miniatures, the miniatures from Joan of Arc that we're incorporating as well to replicate those important characters and points of interest. Yes, you got it, Justin. And some of these, of course, you'll recognize from Time Legends Joan of Arc. Some of them will also be little new versions as well, and we will be supporting them. Shall we?
Yeah,
go on.
I think we should.
Go on, Leo. We can have a little look about some of the things we're doing with them.
Is there another one?
Go on.
Well,
wow. What is that?
Okay, so the good thing with having the minis is that you can immediately remember the blacksmith, I can see him, he's here, or this character is here.
Or if they move, they go somewhere else.
You can see. And yes, as said, some will be from the core game, the Time of Legends board game, Joan of Arc board game, but there will be new ones. And this one is Abaddon. Abaddon is the herald of death. Is the herald of death. This one is a big mini.
80 millimeters tall.
90. I think he's the size of Gog and Magog and the cockatrix and the griffin and all the big creatures we had in the game. And of course, it's exclusive to this box, to this Destinies box. It will always be there. But what we will do is we will provide the statistics cards and we will provide a scenario using all the new minis for Joan of Arc, the board game.
Okay, that I like.
So it's really important that it's good to know that although this is a licensed IP for Time of Legends and for the world of Joan of Arc, this is a standalone game. So if you didn't back Time of Legends Joan of Arc, that's absolutely fine. Time of Legends Destinies is completely fine.
Standalone,
100% in the box. But if you happen to have the previous one, or if you happen to jump on any Joan of Arc in the future, you can use Abaddon in both games.
It's kind of cool that you can do that.
And there's also a possibility that Vincent mentioned is that, or the developers maybe they did, is that the people who have the Joan of Arc board game might be able to use their minis instead of sometimes point of interest. So you would have something more
substantial. We have 3D representation.
We have 980 plus minis for you to choose from if you really wish to really expand your world. We have all the wagons and everything you could possibly desire.
I am really digging the style of this game. It's super condensed and simple, that you're not just having to have like 2 kitchen room tables to actually play it on.
And it's very, very evocative. It's really into the game, and it remains a board game. It's not an app an app that you just follow and you're focused on your stats. When do you want to spend your experience to level up? What risk do you want to take? Do you think this test is important or is it not? What do you want to show to your
opponents?
Opponents? Where do you want to explore? Where do you want to go? So you have lots of freedom and decisions to make.
And that's one thing. So the opponent's part of it is really interesting because right now what we've really shown just through like a turn and a half there is just exploring, finding points of interest, getting story, getting some equipment, affecting your stats. You're kind of just building your characters, right? There isn't actually any conflict really occurring. Because what actually is going to happen is this will continue. You'll explore, you'll gather information, you'll be working towards one of your 2 destinies in secret as all the other players are doing as well. However, at some point, so for example, there's a deserter in this. Deserter is another character in this scenario. And one of the potential destinies of the deserter kind of puts him in direct conflict with one of the key protagonists in the story. And whenever the deserter feels, I'm ready now to either prove my case or ready to face that person and take them down or prove that they are actually not who they say they are, the deserter then has to start what's called an epic destiny finale. And this is where you say, right, I'm going to stop taking normal turns. I'm going to stop exploring and building my character and engaging. And I'm going to start what essentially will become your attempt to fight or prove your case or stop the ritual or convince the people, whatever it may be, whatever destiny you've chosen, you're saying, this is my time. I'm going to go to this specific place and I'm going to now bring my weapons to bear, or I'm going to bring my evidence to the court, or I'm going to, whatever it may be, my ritual components, whatever it may be. And you're going to spend your subsequent turns trying to complete your destiny. But at the same time, each of your turns will be focused on that. The other players will continue their normal turns, and they can also attempt to start their destinies at the same time. But what will happen is only one player will complete their destiny first, becoming the story and the character that is actually written to annals and history, and the one that essentially solves the world and the situation that the town was in.
And I suppose if you're clever enough, if you see the way somebody's, the choices they're making, the trying to pocket all of the gold, trying to do whatever it is, you can go, well, clearly the mayor wants to go on to become nobility. Therefore, I've stumbled across something down the line that desperately they're going to want that. At that point, you just go, it's in my pocket. They're not having it anymore.
You want silver to hunt down that werewolf. I've got a silver locket that you're not getting now. So there's this tension, and that tension because as I'm reading and saying what's happening, or I'm tempted to burn down the house or run someone out of town or give something back to somebody that you know is evil, that creates conversation and creates these points of interest that aren't just I roll an attack and you roll a defense. It's actually much more than that. It's like, oh no, I don't think you should do that. Why not?
The story is really well written. They had like very good writers, like professional writers, some of the most famous in Poland that worked on not only this scenario, but the others, because there will be more than one scenario. There will be 5 scenarios, I believe, in the core box. Plus, there will be expansions. So maybe I think one expansion is provided with for the Kickstarter backers with this one, and then there will be another one. So there'll be plenty of stories. And
on that point, it's worth mentioning that each game will take sort of 2.5-3 hours. That's roughly what we're kind of looking at, and they can be played just standalone. That's not a problem, but you can also chain them together.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is there a possibility to run it as a campaign, and will the app remember that? Do the things that you've done in the first game and the choices you made and how you've leveled up continue? So if you then,
I don't think so. I think they're all. I think they're all standalone scenarios, but there are connections between them. Yes, and it reveals some secrets of the world.
It's less about being level 10 going into this new scenario, and more about just being actually you have more detail, more context, and linking the stories together.
So it's a narrative arc rather than
exactly.
And some. Oh, sorry.
You're okay. One thing I was going to say is just drawing us back to a point. Whenever you talk about someone going for their final destiny, I like the idea that everyone else is playing on through the regular turns, perhaps getting stronger and getting closer to everything that they need to make it easier for them to get to their final destiny.
And you nailed it.
If Jerry pulls the trigger too early, he could find, oh, I need to spend like what 3-4 turns doing this, whereas I'll take maybe 1-2 extra turns and I can do it in 1 or 2 turns.
That's it.
And beat him to it.
If you jump the gun too early, you may find yourself taking even more than that turns trying to prove your case. Or if you have discovered an item which you think is the perfect evidence to prove your case, it turns out you were completely wrong, then yes, you're going to find yourself not progressing during that finale, but actually stalled. So yeah, I mean, it's worth noting. So it's the 24th of September, the coming to Kickstarter, but it is going to be a retail game as well. As you see, they've got the box with us, and the idea the components are quite light, which is great. And these guys will be running for a few weeks, so if you want to support it, it would be awesome. We'll be on there. We'll be meeting with the guys, and we'll be doing some lives.
I think the game will be $49. It has to be confirmed because this is what I heard from Vincent. $49, I think, which probably will be the same price in retail, and I think it's coming with an expansion So no stretch goals from what I heard, but an expansion that goes with it.
Yeah, cool. All right, well...
hold on, I would just raise one last thing. I actually just realized I hadn't mentioned. I felt really bad not to mention it. We've talked with the guys lots about some of the things that we really enjoy, and with Time of Legends Joan of Arc, we did historical stuff and tactical. We also did mythical. We also did the battle mode, and we also did. We're looking at doing a digital custom scenario creator. They're doing the same. The Lucky Duck guys went, you know what? We're making the app, but rather than just saying, "Hey, here's the app, play with it," what they're also doing as well is saying, actually, we'll give you access to the custom app maker. So if you want to make your own stories, like if you see the size of, this is the prototype, look at the size of this deck, right? In terms of items and cards and interactions. If you literally want to build, and this is just a sample, like seriously, just a sample from a story. If you want to build an entire world based around, the 100 Years War period, the 13th, 14th, 15th centuries and this kind of thing, you are going to have such a world to play in.
Some scenarios are very mythical and some are more linked to very important historical events, but seen from a different perspective. So the historical things that we know happened, but maybe for a different reason, and maybe there's myth and things like behind what we see.
If you like writing role playing stuff, this is going to be great.
Well, one scenario from the book that instantly I want to turn into this is one that we actually played while you guys were across. The Siege of Calais.
Oh my word.
That would be so fun to play this way.
To play a completely different perspective. It would be so enjoyable.
Spend an awful lot of time in Calais attempting to find something to eat.
Cool. So they will be on Kickstarter before us, but we might do some little things together.
Okay, cool.
See.
All right, well, guys, that is Time of Legends Destinies coming to Kickstarter soon. Get your comments in below. Tell us, what do you think? Are you excited for this one? We'll move on with the guys, and of course, we will have more news from them very, very soon. So stay tuned. We will see you very shortly. Goodbye.